tonight on CTV News at 6. Standing up against violence in schools.
To understand what is happening, why it's happening, and have an intervention that goes straight to the root and not just put a band-aid.
A group of organizations in the North Bay area are putting prevention first and calling all riders.
That's part of our accelerated bus purchase program. So that's an ongoing capital project that will see the replacement of up to 53 buses.
Sudbury Transit is making some improvements, including new buses and passes. Plus, do you have a will?
Unfortunately, only about half of people actually have a will.
Why so many Canadians are putting off this important document.
CTV News at 6 with Marina Moore and Tony Rima with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin with some tragic news from the police community. We're told an OPP officer has died in the line of duty in Hearst. We've learned the officer is Provincial Constable Tarun Bali and that he was killed during an investigation at Kendall Concession Road 7 and Concession Road 6 near Hearst around 12:30 this afternoon. Bali was from the Dufferin County Detachment in southwestern Ontario and was on deployment with the James Bay Detachment. Bali was 29 years old and had been with the OPP just 2.5 years. Details surrounding the cause of death have not been released as the investigation is ongoing. However, police say one person is in custody. In a post on X, OPP Commissioner Thomas Carrique saying, quote, his courage and commitment to serving others will never be forgotten. We will update the story as more information becomes available. Now to a note for drivers, Highway 69 in the French River area is now open after being closed for much of the day following a fatal collision. Police say one person was pronounced deceased at the scene and 2 others were transported to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The highway reopened around 3 this afternoon. Our digital team is following the story and will post any updates on our website, ctvnewsnorthernontario.ca. And an update on Monday's fatal collision in the northern section of our broadcast region along Highway 11. The crash between a passenger vehicle and a transport happened between Long Lac and Hearst and closed the highway for 18 hours. A 54-year-old from Geraldton was pronounced dead at the scene. 2 others involved were treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Well, a place of tribulation and triumph opened its doors to the Soo today. CTV's Corey Nordstrom has more from Breton House, a substance abuse rehabilitation center.
40 years of addiction recovery in the Soo.
Breton House, Sarah speaking. How can I help you?
The Rehabilitation Center for Women welcomed the community in celebration of its milestone, serving as an opportunity for past graduates to return.
This is the first room I stayed in when I came to Breton House.
And reflect on how far they've come.
2 years ago, I entered Breton House and I spent 10 months within the program, and it was changed my life. I've gained my family, I've gained my freedom, which I didn't have. You don't have freedom when you're addicted. I've gained friendships, which I've never really nurtured, and I've gained my own self-respect in the interim as well.
It was teaching me how to grow and be a human being and have self-worth. Which was probably removed. Drinking removes everything. It's a great remover of families and everybody.
The 8-bed facility takes women from across the province. They take part in all-day programming, learn life skills, do group work, and have mandatory counseling.
Oftentimes we see them, talk about healthy relationships, communication, boundaries, people, places, things, like all those kind of things that keep them stuck in the cycle. So that's what we work on individually.
Breton House currently has a wait list of 2 to 3 months. What helps make it so sought after is that the supports are 24/7, with residents staying between 3 months and a year, much longer than most recovery centers.
Most are 28 days, 30 days, 35 days, which is fantastic, but some women need a little bit longer. So the need's there. If we were able to expand, that's definitely something that would be a long-term goal of ours, is to get a new facility and hopefully have more beds to be able to provide more support to women.
Breton House receives provincial funding, but relies heavily on community support and donations. Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
Violence in schools is an issue on the minds of many here in the North and beyond. And in the North Bay area, more than a dozen partners are now working together to prevent and respond to potential risks. CTV's Angela Gemmel reports.
Representatives signed their names to the Assessment of Risk to Others protocol, known as the ARDO Circle. It brings together agencies in the Nipissing and Parry Sound districts, joining forces to prevent violence.
It's important to kind of keep our eyes wide open going into these situations, and for us that's really the key, is making sure that we bring the community partners on board, because sometimes we don't have all the information, but some of the community partners may have the information to help us understand what's going on and to prevent something from happening.
Under the ARDO protocol, the multi-agencies are committed to preventing and responding to potential risks of violence from children or youth in local schools or the wider community. Partners include the 4 local school boards, mental health agencies, police, and the municipality.
We come all together and we want to get all these pieces and make the puzzle to understand what is happening, why it's happening, and have an intervention that goes straight to the root and not just put a band-aid.
The ARDO Circle then finds solutions to support the children, youth, and families involved, with the larger goal to ensure safety in the community.
The protocol says what we need to do after we have our meeting, if we want to have a micro-assessment and see long-term how we're going to support here.
This initiative was 5 years in the making, with the French language school board the first to see the need.
I don't think there's one situation in particular, but I think looking around the country there have been some fairly scary situations, and we just wanted to make sure that those things did not happen within our schools.
One speaker at the launch said it's easy to think that a school tragedy could never happen here, but added that instead of relying on hope, the ARDO Circle is choosing to strengthen the safety and well-being of the Nipissing Parry Sound district. Angela Gemmel, CTV News, North Bay.
Greater Sudbury is refreshing its transit system with new smart cards and new vehicles. But as 6 new diesel buses hit the road, the city's decision to pass on electric options is drawing some disappointment. More from CTV's Amanda Hicks.
Sudbury Transit is getting a digital facelift. The city says nearly 40% of daily riders have already switched to the Gova Pass mobile app. And last week, smart cards officially replaced the old magnetic strips.
We've seen upwards of almost 1,000 cards sold. The other positive piece for our customers is that value is protected. So previously, if somebody lost a 31-day pass, as an example, that value's gone and we can't protect that. Where within our new cards, there's a protection ability for that.
He adds, for those not comfortable with smartphones, the cards can be loaded in person at the transit kiosk or at local libraries. Meanwhile, 6 new diesel buses are hitting the road this week. Adair says it's part of a broader effort to modernize the Gova system and replace aging vehicles that have been in service for nearly 2 decades.
That's part of our accelerated bus purchase program. So that's an ongoing capital project that will see the replacement of up to 53 buses. So at this point, once we have these 6 online, we'll be up to 35 new buses. A diesel bus is upwards of $1 million, and we know that battery electric bus is much more than that.
It's a choice local electric vehicle advocates understand, even if they wish the city could have gone a greener route.
It's all about cost and, balancing what the city can afford with other, higher priority items. Fully recognizing that there are, issues with homelessness, drug use, that kind of thing. So you kind of have to balance it.
The city hopes the updates will eventually boost ridership, which has dipped recently with students away for the summer months. Amanda Hicks, CTV News, Sudbury.
Time now for our first check on weather, and it looks like some good news for our plants, but maybe not so much for the beachgoers. Here's CTV's Tony Rima with the rainy details.
Thanks so much for that, Marina, and good evening, everyone. As we take a look at our weather alerts, The rain has arrived, and so is the heat. There's a heat warning in place for Kapuskasing, Hearst, out of Wapiskat. Temperatures 29 to 31 degrees. Add the humidity, it'll feel like 37 to maybe even up to 39 degrees Celsius. As we take a look now at our forecast radar, pockets of activity. It's been raining off and on in through Sault Ste. Marie along with Wawa, and some shower activity in through Chapleau, and that's going to continue over the next few days. I'll have more weather details a little later in our show, including your current temperatures. Marina.
All right, thanks, Tony. Still to come on CTV News at 6. Premier Doug Ford on day 2 promoting the Fortress North America strategy. And get out your sunblock. Lifeguards are heading back to the Sudbury beaches for the season.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Welcome back. Sudbury's Event Centre will be front and centre at tonight's council meeting. In a motion being fronted by councillor and mayoral candidate Bill Leduc, Leduc is suggesting it's time council be given an update on the current status of the project. According to Leduc's motion, 8 months have passed since the last update. The faculty union at Laurentian University confirms that terminated employees at the school during its insolvency restructuring in 2021 have finally received their payouts. The Laurentian University Faculty Association calls it the last and final step in a painful chapter, with creditors receiving just 25% of their claims. 5 years ago, 195 staff and faculty members were terminated after LU filed for insolvency. The president of the Faculty Association says the CCAA process wasn't the right process and sparked a legislative change in 2024 to exclude universities from CCAA proceedings.
The causes of the crisis, as they were established by the Auditor General of Ontario, were the lack of accountability and the lack of transparency, and these, could have been addressed through other processes and should have been addressed through other processes.
And we reached out to Laurentian University. An email from the communications department says it does not have anything to contribute to the story at this time. Ontario's premier is on a charm offensive in Washington, D.C. in advance of CUSMA trade talks. And on day 2 of his trip, Doug Ford said the Americans rolled out the red carpet for him. CTV's Abigail Pittman has more.
What is Fortress North America? Well, Fortress North America is about encouraging people to invest more in both countries.
Doug Ford in D.C. selling not just his province, but his new Fortress North America plan. He echoed federal Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc. He feels optimistic about a renewal of the North American Trade Pact and downplayed his canceled reception with American billionaire Ross Perot Jr.
We have been jammed, meeting everyone down here. They've rolled out the red carpet for us. They treat us so well. My message to everyone, we love Americans. We love the U.S., and I know Americans love Canadians. Let's get a deal done.
Ford said he was meeting 4 lawmakers today and has no plans to back down yet from the booze ban that's a real irritant for Americans.
I just want to get this deal done, and then we'll put that booze back on the shelves, and we welcome everyone. Maybe we'll have a little drink of Kentucky bourbon or something in Ontario.
The premier has also been a contentious player in the Canada-U.S. relationship.
America's jobs and growth are at stake.
With the president calling off trade talks after Ontario aired this ad. Ford said he had a positive chat with LeBlanc ahead of his trip. Other ministers portrayed a united front today.
You know, it's always good to have Team Canada talking about the benefit of the relationship.
Tariffs are really, really hurting a lot of Ontarians and a lot of Canadians. And I think it's important that we talk to American leaders across the U.S. I'll be going to the U.S. this summer. There will be many of us that will be going.
Premier Ford has taken a very positive approach, almost conciliatory, compared to other statements that we've seen in the past. So pour a little sugar on it.
LeBlanc had said he's set to speak with United States Trade Representative Jameson Greer at some point this week. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Washington.
Housing advocate Eric Lombardi is the latest candidate to enter the race to become the leader of the Ontario Liberal Party.
Our economy hasn't grown for 25 years once you account for immigration. Young Ontarians face terrible job and housing markets, and the quality and access to our healthcare and education systems is falling, and fast. You know it, and so do most Ontarians.
The former finance and technology entrepreneur has been a strong voice on housing reform. He joins 4 other confirmed candidates in the race. 7 municipal beaches in Sudbury will soon have lifeguards posted. Starting this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., lifeguards will be posted at Bell Park's main beach, along with Moonlight and Nepewan beaches, Capriol, Centennial Park Beach in Whitefish, Calmo Beach in Valcarin, and Whitewater Lake in Azilda will also be staffed. The city is reminding parents that lifeguards are not a substitute for adult supervision of children.
It is the parents, number one, to keep an eye on their children. And the lifeguards would be definitely as a secondary. So just make sure that when you do come to the beach or any body of water anywhere, to have proper supervision and or swim with a buddy.
Checking their life jackets. It's always important that you have a proper fitting life jacket, making sure that all the clips are good to go and that it's a very bright color. And then also staying within arm's reach of your child at all times.
Go to a beach that's supervised by a lifeguard. And again, like the lifeguards don't replace parent supervision.
And 40 lifeguards began training earlier this month for this summer season. Back we go now for a check on the current conditions with Tony Rima. And what kind of conditions for beachgoers tonight, Tony?
Marina, you know, a lot of cloud cover out there, a little sunshine, and it's going to be windy. Let's take a look at our wind gusts at this point. This is where we stand, but things are going to pick up. And, you know, when the wind picks up, so do the conditions. A lot of rain on the way as the system is going to be making its way into our broadcast region. Let's take a look at our current temperatures, and that's going to be coming up right as we go now. Here we go in through Timmins. Rain 24 degrees, same temperature for Cochrane, Moosonee, sun and cloud 26, 21, raining for Kapuskasing 19, and through Chapleau. Wawa had rain today, so did the Sioux, and you still might get that shower activity. It's off and on, overcast, 24 degrees for Parry Sound. As we head north, let's go to North Bay, sun and cloud 28, some temperature in through Temiskaming Shores, 28 for Kirkland Lake, and as we move on, come on, let's go. 28 degrees for Greater Sudbury, overcast skies, 24 in Gore Bay and Elliott Lake, 23 for Espanola. 7-day forecast still to come. Marina.
All right, thank you, Tony. Next on CTV News at 6. Could a social media ban be coming for kids in Canada? Many other countries have made the move. Plus, how an Air Canada pilot was allegedly flying without a license. The federal government is reportedly planning to propose a ban on social media for kids under the age of 16. It's part of a larger trend we've seen in other countries to help protect kids from the dangers and harms of social media, including mental health implications. A government source tells CTV News it's part of the online harms bill to be introduced tomorrow. Prime Minister Mark Carney saying today he can't comment on whether his government is going to ban children from social media because it's not yet before the House.
As I said last week, with respect to AI specifically, the government will be taking steps to protect people's data, their privacy, and their children. So that is the focus of this government. Yes.
Social media bans for youth are gaining traction in Canada. In April, Manitoba became the first province to propose banning children under the age of 16 from using social media and AI chatbot platforms. Ontario, Saskatchewan, New Brunswick, and Quebec have all said they're looking at imposing their own restrictions. Elsewhere, Australia enacted the world's first nationwide ban on social media for children under the age of 16. Brazil, Indonesia, and Malaysia have since enacted legislation governing the use of social media by young people, and several other countries are considering similar bans. The Prime Minister said today the long-awaited opening of the Gordie Howe Bridge will be next week. The bridge, named after Canadian hockey superstar Gordie Howe, will connect Windsor to Detroit and was paid for entirely by Canadian taxpayers. It was targeted by President Trump earlier this year, who complained that Canada was treating the U.S. unfairly. A ribbon cutting is set for Friday, with the ceremony marking the culmination of 8 years of construction.
It's positive news. Obviously, the bridge will be open at the end of the week, and you know, a symbol, but also a fact of cooperations between our countries. Great for Canadians going across the border, Americans coming across the border, and for commerce. And I just want to salute those who constructed it on both sides, and looking forward to getting it done.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection officials said last week they are fully staffed and ready to support trade and travel across the span once final approvals are in place. Well, here's a story that, in the words of police, reads like a movie script. It involves allegations an Air Canada pilot flew hundreds of commercial flights without a license. CTV's John Woodward on how the former captain went undetected for so long and whether passenger safety was compromised.
This investigation and the details surrounding it read like a movie script.
But police say this fraud was very real. An Air Canada pilot flying for decades, captaining planes full of passengers like 767s and 777s that he wasn't licensed to do.
During that time, he captained over 900 domestic flights, earning millions of dollars in salary for those captaining flights, but also flew tens of thousands of passengers.
Charged with fraud and forgery is Jeff Wall, who a posted biography with Ontario's Georgian College says once flew with Canada's Armed Forces and helped connect future pilots with careers as a part-time employee.
Canadian airlines are safe.
That's video of Wall in 2015 sitting down for an interview on CTV's Canada AM. He was the chair of the Air Canada Pilots Association during the period Peel police say he wasn't licensed. Air Canada said in a statement, despite the licensing problem, he was competent to fly, saying safety was not compromised by this incident because all pilots at Air Canada undergo mandatory recurrent training every 6 months to validate their flying competency.
I'm going to show you this. This is mine, actually.
CTV aviation expert Phil Dirty said every year or more a pilot has to show his license to what's called a check pilot, a person working for Transport Canada. But there's apparently no cross-referencing that with government databases.
So, you know, you're taking it at face value, but when the medical is done, then it should be checked there. And then also with the database at Transport Canada, it should also be checked at that point as well.
Police say it was a regular check in March of 2025 that finally flagged the license. Air Canada called in Transport Canada, which reviewed the situation, and then they called the police. Police allege that Wall made a false police report to them to cover his tracks. Wall hasn't responded to messages from CTV News. He's considered innocent until proven guilty and did have a lower standard of pilot's license. John Woodward, CTV News, Mississauga.
Well, there's more news ahead, but first, your full weather forecast with Tony Rima and more on some rainy and possibly stormy conditions to come.
Yes, Marina, how true. As we take a look at our heat map, there's a heat wave in through Kapuskasing along with Hearst, Attawapiskat, temperatures 29-31. With the Humidex, it's going to be much warmer than that. As we take a look at our forecast radar, we have a system that's moving, a low pressure system that's moving from west to east. As a result, clouds, shower activity, temperatures still on the warm side, should be about 21 degrees for this time of year, 22 depending upon where you live. And then in through Sault Ste. Marie early Thursday morning, yikes, thunderstorms, that's going to roll through. Then we're going to get some clearing. As we take a look now at our current temperatures, or make that overnight, in through Sudbury, shower activity, 18 degrees, risk of thunderstorms, Sault Ste. Marie, rain. You see it right across the board. Temperatures overnight, 18 degrees. In through Moosonee, this is what you can expect, 17 degrees, a chance of showers. More rain for Cap, Hearst, Wawa, Gore Bay, and Parry Sound. Now, let's take a look at your 7-day weather forecast, starting with Sudbury, Nickel Belt. Tomorrow, risk of thunderstorms, 26. The temperature improves on Thursday. We get a little clearing, not much. Back to the the showers. We get a cool down on Sunday. Monday, 21, mix of sun and cloud, and of course some rain. Tuesday looks like a pretty nice day. Below seasonal temperatures also. For Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma on Wednesday, 25 degrees, should be about 21 this time of year. Plenty of overcast skies, rainy weather. Next Monday, 19 degrees. And on Tuesday, well, a mix of sun and cloud. For Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, 26, temperature improves on Thursday, but the rain continues right until next Tuesday. As we head on over now in through Timiskaming Shores and Kirkle Lake, risk of thunderstorms. There's that spike in the temperature, 30 degrees. We're going to get some sunny breaks, and then after, it starts to come down temperature-wise. Sunday, below seasonal, 19, but the rain is going to continue until next Tuesday with a mix of sun and cloud. And finally, in through North Bay, West Nipissing, a risk of thunderstorms tomorrow. Temperature ticks up on Thursday, but the rain persists. Some sunny breaks, a little clearing on Saturday. For Sunday, the showers again. Monday, temperature almost near normal. Should be 22. It's going to be 20, and 17 degrees is your daytime high on Tuesday. And your pick of the day, a nice one. There's the sun, a little cloud, some water, some trees there. Thanks very much, Norm Bolduc of Porcupine. This is a shot of Porcupine Lake. We'd love to see your weather pictures. And let's take a look now at still ahead. Lindsay Alick has a story on a new poll that suggests almost half of Canadians have a will.
Sudbury police are warning of landscaping and paving scams starting to surface in the community, but it's not just happening here. CTV's Pat Foran talked to a couple who lost several $1,000s recently in the Toronto area and tells us what to be on the look for.
It's cracking all up in here.
Ernie and Ethel Barron of East York say last month there was a knock on their door and a paving company said they were working in the area. They claimed they could do a complete driveway job the next day.
Did they tell you they wanted it in cash?
Oh, yes. First thing.
The company came with pickaxes to tear up the front part of the driveway. No new gravel was put down, and workers used boards on their feet to stomp down the new asphalt.
I expected him to be tearing everything up and redoing it like any other driveway you've ever seen.
The driveway now has ruts, cracks, and stones coming loose.
The contractor said he would rip up the entire driveway, but more than half of it is just the old asphalt with some new asphalt spread over it.
That's created a trip hazard. A heavy gate that was removed was also supposed to be put back in place. The couple paid the contractor $5,000. The company said they would return to fix any problems, but never did.
They haven't shown up. They don't answer their phone.
The Barons gave the money to Maplestone Paving and Masonry. When we contacted the company, a spokesperson said, "We acknowledge the driveway did not come out as we had hoped for various reasons. I fully intend to return and fix the driveway within the next 1 to 2 weeks." We waited 2 weeks and contacted the couple.
Did they call you?
No, they didn't.
Did they do anything to fix your problem with your driveway?
No, they didn't. They haven't contacted me at all.
The OPP issued a warning after complaints about aggressive door-to-door contractors offering to pave driveways for cash and doing shoddy work.
Don't pay for your job up front with cash. Wait until the job's done and make sure that you're satisfied with it before you're going to pay that amount.
The Barons now worry the paving job they have won't last and regret handing over $5,000 cash. Pat Foran, CTV News.
A new poll conducted by CIBC says Canadians feel estate planning is important, yet only half actually have a will. CTV's Lindsay Alick has more.
End of life. It's something many Canadians don't have a plan for.
Canadians acknowledge that they need to have a will. In fact, almost everyone, 94% of Canadians we surveyed, saying they need to have a will. Unfortunately, only about half of people actually have a will.
The poll suggests many procrastinate, believing they don't have enough assets to warrant a will, and uncertainty about where to begin.
They don't want to talk about death, but sometimes it's simply because they're not sure who is going to be the guardian for the minor children. Who do they want to name as the executor? How do they want to distribute the assets?
What would you say to people that are procrastinating?
Get it done. And especially now,
because I lost my mother not too long ago, and we had everything in order, and it made it so much easier.
Actually, we don't. We're looking into it. We're really late with it. We used to, because we used to own a business, but our lives have changed, and we do need to look into that.
Do you have a will?
Oh, yes.
And was it an easy process?
Yes, it was.
Ultimately, the hope with this survey is that Canadians will get a will done as soon as possible.
Speaking to a lawyer is ideal when your situation's anything beyond the basic situation, but also sit down with a financial advisor, get some advice, do a financial plan, look at your goals, come up with a retirement plan, and ultimately, when you go out there and get that advice, you'll be much more comfortable to know that you've taken care of everything that you can.
Beyond wills, the findings indicate that even fewer Canadians have put other foundational elements in place, with only 39% reporting a financial plan and 29% having an estate plan. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Sudbury.
A new national report says chronic pain among women, and especially women veterans, needs to be addressed immediately. As CTV's Pauline Chan tells us, the report came out of a meeting of leading researchers, patients, and policymakers last month.
Hélène Lassalère never experienced chronic pain during her 26 years with the military, but she did after.
Injuries in Afghanistan also. I had like a traumatic birth also. So a lot of things contributed to that. It's not only one thing.
And while Canada's military health care is comprehensive, she says the civilian system is fragmented and challenging for chronic pain, even for a military veteran. Dalhousie professor Alice Aikens was a physiotherapist with the Canadian Armed Forces.
About 22% of Canadian women experience chronic pain, but about 50% of Canadian women veterans experience chronic pain.
And she calls last April's report pivotal.
Women have been underrepresented in health research for far too long. And also, women veterans have been underrepresented even in veteran health research.
The authors are calling for a coordinated pan-Canadian plan to address gaps in care, policies, and research into chronic pain.
So I had to go to one clinic, for example, for the physio, another one for chiro, another one for kinesiology.
The report calls for more one-stop shops to provide treatments more efficiently. And Aiken says while the gathering of data for women and women veterans is somewhat recent, a plan to collect and organize pain data will ensure the best care is offered to women and women veterans. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Well, health officials say fluoride levels for several Sudbury communities have improved. We're told mechanical repairs at the Vermilion water treatment plant have optimized levels. The health unit says the addition of fluoride poses no health risks, only benefits for good oral health. Residents from Coppercliff to Whitefish are serviced by this municipal plant. Fluoride levels are regulated through the province's Safe Drinking Water Act. Some sad news for a Sudbury thrift store. Josie, the beloved tabby who called Pet Save home, has died. We first met Josie back in 2023. In a Facebook post, Pet Save officials revealed Josie passed away Thursday evening. They go on to say she was the light of the store who took her roles as greeter, inspector, and quality control specialist very seriously. Her grumpy face would go on to demand treats and belly rubs at any given time. Josie was 25. Still ahead here on CTV News at 6. A message of empowerment and inclusion from a group of female bikers in Timmins. We have their story after the break.
Clothing provided by Laura, Melanie Lynn.
The Ontario Hockey League made history last night. The Brantford Bulldogs, an OHL team, selected goaltender Sophie Jovanovic. The 17-year-old says she gets her inspiration from her brother.
We used to have a little outdoor rink in the backyard, and I actually want to play hockey because of my brother. He's one of my biggest role models and supporters, and I'm so grateful for him, and I always just want to be just like my brother and follow his journey. So that's how I started playing hockey.
The Bulldogs picked Jovanovic in the second round of the draft. She's the first woman ever to be chosen in the under-18 draft. She's also the second woman drafted into the league. She played her under-16 AAA hockey with the Toronto Marlboros. The priority selection over the weekend also saw the 3 northern teams pick up some hot prospects. Defense was top of mind for at least 2 of the local clubs, with the Sioux Greyhounds and Sudbury Wolves both selecting defensemen in the first round. The Hounds would pick up a second defenseman, while the Wolves used their second-round pick for goaltender Cameron Hallett. The North Bay Battalion flanked center, picking up a pair of wingers with their first 2 picks. Grady Dale played his 24-25 season with the North Bay Trappers U16s. Final preparations are underway for tomorrow's Armed Forces Day celebration at North Bay's waterfront. The parachute team, known as the Skyhawks, practiced a few jumps this morning, testing their gear. This Armed Forces Day will also mark the last time North Bay will get to see the snowbirds in their current iteration. It's expected a couple thousand students and members of the public will be there for the show tomorrow morning.
It's very hard to describe. It's just very rewarding to feel all the love and all the support from the community, and to see that people are supporting the Canadian Armed Force in such a strong way is very rewarding as well as a military member myself.
The city says everything is weather permitting. To ensure safety, the entire North Bay waterfront will be a no drone zone during the event. Well, a new women-led motorcycling group in Timmins is hitting the road with a message of empowerment, inclusion, and community. Moto Dolls Timmins is creating a welcoming space for women and members of the 2S LGBTQ+ community to connect through their shared love of riding. CTV's Lydia Chubak reports.
Amy Mulryan and Cora Lynn Morissette are the co-founders of Moto Dolls Timmins, a newly registered nonprofit dedicated to building a more inclusive motorcycling community. Unlike traditional riding clubs, Moto Dolls operates as a no brand, no patches group, removing many of the barriers of conventional motorcycle culture.
These 2 groups, so women and the queer community, have been ostracized from the motorcycle community. It's heavily male-based, so this just gives us a safe space to be ourselves, be welcome without fear of being excluded in those environments.
The group's first ever ride earlier this spring attracted 20 riders, a turnout organizers say exceeded their expectations.
We had 20 awesome ladies show up. We were not expecting that many, so we were super excited to spend an evening just riding, doing what we love. It was amazing. My heart was full. It was a great feeling to know that we have at least that many women out there wanting to participate and enjoy the sport as much as we do.
On June 14th, Moto Dolls will host the Sadie Grimm Legacy Ride, honoring the Manitoba woman who became the first female winner of an official motorcycling competition in Canada in 1914.
We're inviting the whole Timmins area to come and join us to celebrate the milestone of women's motorcycling.
The charity ride will begin at Collège Boreal, travel to White Birch General Store west of Timmins, and return to campus for a pizza lunch, prizes, and community celebration. Moto Dolls can be found on social media, where riders can learn more about upcoming rides and future events. Organizers say they plan to stay active throughout the year, providing safety tips, rider information, and encouragement for more women to join the sport. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
The Ontario government is investing tens of millions of dollars in provincial parks, expanding campsites in the years ahead. CTV's Scott Miller has more on the growing demand for outdoor spaces.
Nearly 14 million visitors stayed in an Ontario provincial park last year, the most campers ever.
Many parks reach capacity during peak seasons, which is wonderful in one sense, but it means there are families who want to spend a weekend under the stars and they can't always find a site. That is why today I'm happy to announce that we are beginning the first phase of our $60 million multi-year investment to deliver the largest campground expansion Ontario has seen in more than half a century.
285 campsites have already been upgraded to electrical sites at Sandbanks, Arrowhead, and Turkey Point provincial parks. 67 new sites will be ready for campers this summer, including 17 new ones at McGregor Point Provincial Park near Port Elgin, which was the backdrop for today's provincial announcement.
These new campsites represent the first wave in our plan to create approximately 300 new campsites and electrify up to 800 more, a total of 1,000 new and upgraded sites.
The province is trying to capitalize on, I guess, one of the positive outcomes from COVID, where more people showed a renewed interest in exploring the great outdoors.
Because as we all know, demand for outdoor recreation continues to grow, and families are eager to spend time connecting with nature. These new sites will help more people enjoy that experience while also supporting longer stays and repeat visits.
Campers spend money too, taking day trips to the towns and villages located near their temporary homes in the woods.
When visitors come to McGregor Point, they just don't stay in the park. They visit our local shops, they buy groceries, they dine at our incredible restaurants, and they support our businesses right across the region and throughout Ontario.
Reservations for the 67 new Ontario campsites open June 15th.
It's time to start planning your next visit to Ontario parks.
Near Port Elgin, Scott Miller, CTV News.
The crowd at the Caruso Club was fiercely patriotic in Sudbury on Sunday as people came together to celebrate Italy. Organizers put together the event celebrating the 80th Festa della Repubblica. Sudbury Mayor Paul Lefebvre was invited to proclaim June as Italian Heritage Month in the city. The recognition highlights the contributions of the Italian-Canadian community and the importance of celebrating its culture, history, and traditions. Sudbury's Caruso Club is one of the largest Italian associations in the province.
Entertainment is brought to you by Super Big Money TV Bingo. Join us this Saturday at 6:30 on CTV.
Two surprise hit horror movies have really paid off for their studios. David Daniel has that and more in tonight's Hollywood Report.
Look, I know how this sounds, but you gotta understand, it's massive in there.
Massive responses to a pair of low-budget films. YouTuber Kane Parsons' horror movie Back Rooms has topped $200 million in global grosses, passing Marty Supreme to become A24's biggest hit ever in just 10 days. Meanwhile, another horror film, Curry Barker's Obsession, has also crossed the $200 million mark worldwide. It's already the top domestic grosser ever for its studio, Focus Features.
We are outgunned and we are outmanned. Can bring the rain. We got no money. But we have each other and nothing left to lose.
You ready?
The official trailer is out for the 5th and final season of The Bear, as the team works against the odds to pull off one last service. The Bear returns June 25th on Hulu. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Most economists expect the Bank of Canada will hold its key interest rate steady for a 5th straight time when it meets tomorrow. The central bank held its policy rate at 2.25% in April, but would not rule out further adjustments if needed. Tomorrow's announcement comes amid some mixed signals about the state of the Canadian economy. Last month, Statistics Canada revealed that the country was in a technical recession. On Friday, the labor force survey showed that Canada had added 88,000 jobs in April. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is staying around 72 cents US today. West Texas Intermediate is down, closing the day at 88.72. Western Canadian Select is up to 76.43, and the TSX gained a roughly 67 points today, now sitting at just over 34,400. And here are the closing prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold is up 70.18, closing the day at $42.59.99 US an ounce. Silver fell $2.82. Copper up 7 cents, and nickel down 20 cents, ending at $8.15 US a pound. And Tony's back now for one last look at the weather and what's in store for Wednesday. Tony.
Thanks very much, Marina. Let's take a look at your forecast for Wednesday and expect a lot of shower activity in through Sudbury, 26. Risk of thunderstorms. Timmins, same temperature, but a mix of sun and clouds. Sault Ste. Marie, 25. Rain in through North Bay, 21. Risk of thunderstorms. Also some thunderstorms and some sunny breaks in through Parry Sound, and 21, and rain for Temiskaming Shores. Marina.
All right, we'll need the umbrellas. Thanks, Tony. Well, finally for us tonight, she was a code breaker during the Second World War and is now a grandmother of 5. Next month, Wynne Beecroft turns an incredible 106 years old, but she's celebrating a little early and invited CTV's Katie Griffin along for the tea.
Happy birthday, dear Wynne.
Wynne Beecroft has a lot to celebrate.
I was born July the 2nd, 1920.
To mark turning 106 next month, afternoon tea at the Fairmont Chateau Laurier.
It's rather puzzling, but when I come to think about it, I suppose 106 is a lot of days.
Beecroft was born in England.
My mother, when I was young, told me I would never be anything but a servant. So I said, to heck with you.
Beecroft served with the Royal Air Force during the Second World War. She was one of the Enigma girls, helping to break the German code.
We tuned the dials and we tried to hear whatever Morse code was coming over from the enemy, as it were. If we got a full message on a full page, we used to call the supervisor. The supervisor would say, oh, hurry, hurry, and off he'd go to send it off to headquarters.
She came to Canada in 1955 with her husband Rex and 3 children. The grandmother of 5, the backbone of her family.
She's had so many obstacles in her way in life. She's overcome them all. She's always been very, very loving and supportive.
This milestone celebration thanks to Wynne's friends.
As we go through life, it's very rare to find good friends that you have for years and years and years. And every year they become a little bit more precious.
The hotel pulling out all the stops.
When I got that email, I was like, immediately, this is so exciting, and how cool was it that they would choose us to celebrate with.
As for the secret to living such a long life, Beecroft says luck and eggs.
When I was a young girl, my mother put me on eggs. She said they were very good for me. So I've had 2 eggs every day since. And this is what I say when people say, what keeps you so young? I said 2 eggs a day.
Katie Griffin, CTV News.
I could listen to her stories all day. Happy birthday, Wynne. And that's all the time we have here on CTV News at 6. It's so great being back here with you following my maternity leave. Of course, I'll see you again tomorrow. And don't forget to tune in at 11:30 tonight with Ian Campbell. Good night.